cousin's wife, who happened to have trained with a really good oncologist at Royal North Shore, sort of called around and checked to see whether, she would recommend me to see him, and he happened to be on call at that day. And looking at the effusion, she just said, look, why don't you go into the hospital and get that checked out now, because he's on call as well, so he can see you. So it was I was just so lucky in my process. I think it's really probably an outlier in that sense for your study, but it was very quick for me to then see my oncologist that day. And they drained, they had so I'm jumping into I suppose it's treatment, but it's also...
Yeah, I suppose it's treatment, yeah.
But it's also part of a diagnosis.
We can talk about treatment a little bit later. We've got a couple of questions around that.
Let me finish, because the diagnosis wasn't made really until I had a pericardial window done. So I had a heart surgeon come and talk to me, a cardiothoracic surgeon who, did a drain, a pericardial drain, and also a pericardial window, and then they drained about a litre and a half litres of fluid, and that fluid was tested for genetic mutation as well, and so my diagnosis was confirmed, like EGFR and ALK mutations were, the tests came back negative. And then I waited another 2 weeks, and results for ROS1 came back positive, and so I was diagnosed with ROS1 non-small cell lung cancer.
Okay, Lillian, so thanks for that summary. So this question here, did anyone ever talk to you about having a test to see if you have any genes, or sometimes they are called biomarkers?
Yes.
Or mutations that might be targetable with treatment?
Yes. So my oncologist...
What was your... Sorry, I think there's a delay, so sorry if I'm talking over you. I apologise.
All right.
What was your understanding of how those tests might help you?
I spoke to a registrar at the emergency ward, and at emergency, when I first went in, I spoke to 6 different doctors, and I think one of them was the oncology registrar, and she said that there are different types of mutations now. I think I knew very little to start off with, and she reassured me that there are tests that can be done to see if I have those mutations. And then, I think, So yes, they did talk to me. And what did you ask me? Sorry, Kirili?
Yeah, no worries. What was your understanding of how those tests might help you?
How they might help me? Yeah, so I knew, they told me that knowing if I have a mutation would allow them to decide which treatment's best. I think that's about it. It was that I wasn't given too much details. I did a lot of search then myself after that and asked questions. But initially it was just simply that they were doing some tests. They'll get back to me. And then when they said the first 2 are negative, they said, don't worry, there's another one that we're waiting on. And then it came back positive.
Lillian, when you were diagnosed with lung cancer, how much did you know about your condition?
Interestingly enough, my dad, about 5 years prior to that, had a lung cancer diagnosis scare. So for about 3 months, we thought he might have lung cancer, and his scans came, he did an X-ray, a CT, they both showed signs of lung cancer, and then he even did a PET scan, and it all lit up in his chest, and we thought it definitely is lung cancer. And then we realised when the surgeon tried to get a biopsy that there was nothing there, and then they tested for TB, and long story short, we think that he had TB in the end.